What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 2. No, not season 2, episode 5, season 3. Okay, let's get into it. So y'all know sometimes before we get into the review, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And so there's a few things I saw online that I want to talk about, okay? So first up is Miss Lisa Barlow. So Lisa took to her Insta story and she posted this. She says, F the little liars and the ones that support them. I see you. Girl, Lisa said, I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of y'all lying on me. You know, it's crazy because I'm actually enjoying Lisa, and normally Lisa works my nerves. But like, I don't know. I really do feel like Lisa is not playing with the girls right about now. And I'm enjoying it. The next thing I really am about is Brittany and Jared. Because girl, mess. So this fan page by the name of Mary Cosby's fan page was dropping a little bit of tea. Now I will say I take this type of tea as like blind items. Like it could be speculation, it could be true, but there's nobody that's gonna actually come out and like confirm it for real. And I've seen that this page pretty much says they kind of have like a in with one of the producers, so they could be telling the truth, but you never really know. But take it with a grain of salt, okay? It was spicy salt to me, so I wanted to bring it to y'all, okay? So it says SLCT. It says, here's why Brittany was demoted. At first, it was going to be the OGs plus Angie and their and either Bronwyn or Brittany. Then there was a plan for 8 housewives. However, Brittany faked the relationship with Jared for a storyline and was demoted. And they continued the tweet by saying this: Brittany was described as thirsty and looking for drama, which gave the producers a ick. I think they meant an ick. Jared stopped filming with her and she had no storyline. You'll see that Brittany becomes background noise after the trip and will do something for drama later on in the season. Hashtag RHOSLC. So this is kind of interesting to me because I slightly believe it. And the only reason why I believe it a little bit is because Brittany has 2 confessionals. Okay. And I'm like, we haven't seen a confessional from Millie. I don't even think Millie had a confessional this episode. So I'm just kind of like, I think she really was supposed to be a full-time housewife, and maybe her storyline with Jared fizzled out, so they felt like they no longer needed her. And she do give theatrics and drama. The way she ran into that bathroom to cry, I said, okay, girl. So the page went on to I guess try to vindicate themselves. So they posted this. They said, told you guys, hashtag SLC, got these screenshots from a follower. So I guess someone decided to message Jared on Instagram. And this is what the screenshots are. He said, and I realize I'm oversharing a little bit. The fascinating part about Brittany's story is that she adds so much drama for no reason, truly in an attempt to be relevant. If you want to know the truth on our story, I have never walked away from her. I've never broke up with her. I've always been steady, spoiled her over the last year, paid for everything, and been a true gentleman. She is so damaged from her past relationship that she makes me out to be the bad guy. She's scared that I won't put a ring on her finger and I want to just play. So rather than just steadily stay with me and work through all of the dating issues that pop up, she runs like a scared child. I need to date a stable woman. So he goes on to say, for the record, Brittany has a job on the show because I decided to go on. I gave her relevance. I gave her a talking point. She promised me that we wouldn't take our love on camera. that it would be best friends. Hence the reason for all the best friend comments. I went against my better judgment and I filmed with her thinking that she would hold to that. She did not, obviously. I've stepped up to give her all that she has needed to make herself relevant on the show, and what I got in return was a woman that dumped me and makes me look like a complete idiot by the time that this is all done. Also evidenced by some of her TikToks, not a happy camper. So this to me feels like Jared is trying to play in everybody's face a little bit, because in one breath you're saying that you're the reason she got on this show, you're the reason why she has a job is because she's attached to you. But on the other hand, you're saying that she promised not to talk about y'all love and y'all relationship. But I'm like, if you know that she's on the show because y'all are together, then why would you think she would not talk about your relationship? You also said that she's not stable and she's damaged and she's always running away from you and y'all haven't broken up. But I call cap on that, because I'm like, if you've been dating her for 8 months, like, what's the need of you being on social media saying sometimes you just got to go to Costco with your best friend when it's clear y'all are together? But I don't know, Jared. And maybe Whitney was right. It is giving politician that you know how to gaslight people and lie and you're charming. Because I don't totally believe this, even though Brittany get on my nerves. But let's get into this review. So let's talk about the episode. So it opens up and we see everybody is packing to go to Milwaukee. So you have Whitney lying to her husband, talking about she's so happy that Heather did the team building ropes course for them because it really brought the girls together. I said, girl, y'all was cussing each other out. There was no togetherness. Okay, ma'am. So she's just excited to go to Milwaukee. We then see Meredith talking to her husband, where her husband is pretty much like, how do you feel? And Meredith's like, I don't know if I want to go, because Whitney moving real funny, and it's just, I can't put my finger on like what's her issue with me. So I don't really know. So then her husband Seth is like, well, girl, I think you should go. Just be cool. Just stay close to Lisa and Heather. Like, treat Whitney like algebra. Like, act like it doesn't exist and keep it pushing. We then see Bronwyn packing with her husband, and she's like putting stuff in this bag, and I think her husband was like, do you think you have enough space for everybody's egos? And then she was like, I don't know. So then she brings up Lisa, where she's like, I didn't need Lisa to defend me, but the fact that she didn't say anything really bothers me. And he's like, well, talk to her about it. That's what happens in friendships. You have to talk to each other for y'all to, like, to work things out. So she's like, okay, cool. We then see Mary. So Mary is coming on the trip, but she's not flying with them in the private jet. She was like, y'all know I fly a particular way and I'm not flying with y'all. And so she calls Whitney and she tells her, hey, I'm still coming, but I'm not flying on no plane with y'all. And Whitney's like, if it would have been anybody else, I would have had an issue, but I understand, Mary. I understand how you like to roll, so that's cool. We then see Angie. Angie is excited because they're going to a Milwaukee's Bucks game, and I guess they have a player on there by the name of the Greek Freak. I think his name is like Janeo. Y'all know me in names, and I tried to pronounce the last name, could not do it. Okay. But his name, or like his nickname, is the Greek Freak. So Angie's super excited. She like to rep her set. She like to rep her country. So she got specially made like Greek glasses. She has like a jersey with the player, but it's his color, like it's the Greek flag colors. Cause I think the Milwaukee's colors is white and green. She got the colors of white and blue, which is the Greek flag. And then she brought a Greek flag. So Angie said, I'm gonna be Greeked out and I'm Greek for life till I die. I said, okay, sis, I see you rep your set. So she's showing all of this to her husband. He's just standing there like, that's a lot, but okay. And so he asks her, so how are you and Lisa? And Angie brings up how Lisa walked away from their conversation, and she's just like, I don't really know where we go from here. So it is what it is at this point. She then brings up about Brittany and Jared. And she's like, I was talking to my brow girl, and she told me that she got a few DMs and they were very flirtatious from Jared. And she asked me, were Jared and Brittany together? And Angie's like, I really like Brittany. She's very sweet. I said, it's funny that you like her, but last episode, you and Bronwyn was talking real slick about her. Okay. So Angie's like, I like her and I don't know if I should tell her because, I dealt with these types of things before. And I think there's a difference. We saw last season Angie was over Monica, and they keep showing Monica. I know Monica be sitting at the house pissed, okay? Because for the past 3 episodes, they have done flashbacks to her. And the fact that like everyone's committed to not filming with her, I know it bothers her. I know she's enraged right about now. But pretty much, when Monica brought the rumors to Angie about like the rumor going around that Angie's husband is like gay and he sleeps with a lot of men, that really pissed Angie off. And so I saw people trying to make a comparison on that episode where they were like, well, why is Angie now peddling rumors? But I was like, this isn't really a rumor. It's concrete evidence. That's the difference between you like telling somebody a rumor and actually having like facts, because Angie ends up showing us the DM conversation that Jared and her brow girl had. So this is what happened. So you got Jared, like the girl has a picture. It's a cute picture. It's a lot of cleavage. It's a lot of titties. But he's like, oh, you are so fun. And so the girl says back, I'm actually a little bit of a handful, LOL, but I bet you would like it a little. And then she did a smiling face emoji. So then Jared sends back 2 emojis, the laughing emoji and then a winking emoji with the tongue out. And then he says, probably do tell. So he was definitely flirting with that girl once he saw them titties and the cleavage, okay? So she's like, I want to tell her. And Seth is like, I don't think her name is Seth. I don't know Angie's husband. I'm just saying Angie's husband. Angie's husband is like, yeah, you probably should tell her because it's important. And Angie says in her confessional, if it was me, I definitely would want to know. So then we see everybody pulling up to the airport. It's 4 a.m. in the morning. We see Lisa trying to check on Bronwyn. Bronwyn's giving her the cold shoulder. Lisa was actually like walking up to give the girl a hug, and Bronwyn like pretty much like paid her dust. So then Lisa was like, hey, do you need any help? And Bronwyn was like, no, I got it. Thanks. And so now Bronwyn is like, like this is the first time me and Lisa have ever had anything like going on, you know what I'm saying? And like we've been friends for such a long time, and the fact that like she didn't speak up for me at the table, it's like it's really bothering me. And I'm like, what did you want her to say, Angie? Because what it feels like to me is Angie wants Lisa to lie, because when they do the flashback, Lisa was like, yeah girl, it was definitely a snarky shady comment, and it was Bronwyn. And I'm not getting it. All I get from this is Bronwyn is really upset that she got put out on Front Street, and she expected Lisa to like swoop in and like save her from everybody. And I was like, that's not the Housewives game. Like, that's not it, girl. And it's funny to me that because it's like, well, you know what? I'll save it to the end. I'll save it to the end. But I see you, Bronwyn. I see it. I see you. Because to me, Bronwyn wants an issue with Lisa at this point. Because why at the end of the episode are you being like, this is like a crack in our friendship, and I don't know if we can survive this. This little moment right here has you that like, I don't know if our friendship can survive. It means to me you never really wanted to be her friend, and you want an issue. Because it's not that deep, lady. It's not. So we end up seeing Meredith pull up, and everyone's like, oh my God, Meredith, you came. And so Whitney lets us know that Meredith actually texted her, where Meredith said this: hi, Whitney, I moved some plans around to come to Milwaukee. Thank you for the invite, XX. And pretty much Meredith is like, girl, for me, Meredith knows she doing too much. Like, you really acting like you're not about to go on this first cash trip. Like, girl, why are you about to let this lady play with your check? Get your ass on the plane and let's go. Let's stop playing. So the girls are on the plane. It looks like it's a fun time. We then see that Mary got there before them. So she's there. She lets us know that her dad used to live in Milwaukee. She brings up Jeffrey Dahmer, that her dad actually like lived like in the either near his apartment or in the area. And she said her dad always was like, what's that smell? And then like a week later, that's when Jeffrey Dahmer got arrested. And Mary's like, I just think my daddy was nosy. I said, girl, mess. I said, girl. We then see Mary like struggling, her and the attendant struggling to get her bags into the hotel. Like, I said, Mary, y'all were only going for 2 days. Why do you have 5 bags? Like, what clear, like 5 bags? I can see like one big suitcase, or maybe a little suitcase like for your shoes, and then a big suitcase for your clothes. But like Mary had 5 bags. I was like, girl, where we going? What we doing? what we do? Everyone pulls up to the hotel after Mary. It's a really nice hotel. It's a big suite with 9 rooms in it. All the rooms look really nice. Nothing looks tiny. They have like a nice little like charcuterie spread out there for everybody. So they all sit down at the table. We get a little more backstory about Millie. We find out that her and Whitney been friends since they were in college. They used to run into the same circles or run in the same circles. She's married and she has 4 kids. Her youngest child, I think, just turned like 2 or 1 years old. And she was saying the last time she had like a real like vacation was to Disney World. And like, that's not really a vacation when your kids are still kids. You know, it's different when your kids are like teenagers because it's like they can do what they want to do. So then Brittany asks Lisa, how is like Jack? And so Lisa started crying because you know how she loved her first child, her baby boy. And we find out that Jack ended up having like severe like stomach pain. And she was like, he called her basically saying he didn't know if it was his appendix or if it was something else or if he had like food poisoning. Like he was just really going through it. And so Lisa starts crying because she wants to go to Colombia to make sure he's okay. And they were like, well, are you gonna go? Meredith is like, of course, like you should be able to go. Like I don't think they can stop you, especially like even though the rules are so strict. And Lisa was like, no, we were gonna go, but Jax told us not to go. He told us like he wanted to figure this out. He didn't want us to go down there. Honestly, I just feel like it's his first time eating real food that's not from a fast food place or real seasoning, and his stomach don't know how to deal. I don't think it's that deep, but I can understand being a parent and you're like, your child is sick and you can't get to them. Like, you know, they're in a whole other country that you have to fly a plane to. So I can feel Lisa's pain. You know, I was actually surprised that Mary got up and like hugged her and consoled her. Cause you know, Mary don't really be doing that for the girls, but I thought it was really sweet. So, we then see, I think it was Whitney. Whitney ends up telling all the girls what they're gonna do. So some of the girls are going to the casino, the other girls are going to the Bobblehead Museum, and Mary makes a face where she laughs and she was like, you know, Whitney is no longer the bobblehead, like she's no longer that. There's somebody else, and this looks at the camera pans to Brittany, and so you know, Mary called Whitney bobblehead last season, but they seem to be in a better place. So I think the way the groups break up is Angie, Brittany, Lisa, Meredith, and Heather go to the casino, and then Millie, Bronwyn, Mary, and Whitney go to the Bobblehead Museum. Got a little bit of downtime before they go to like the casino and the Bobblehead Museum. And we see Mary on the phone with her son. He's like, hey, can you cash at me $60? Now, Mary, I was trying to rock with you on episode 2 because I was like, allegedly, it's kind of seeming like maybe her son might have a slight addiction problem, you know? So I was like, okay, I can understand her trying to like put kid gloves on and handle him. But scenes like this just makes it seem like your son is using you for money and it's giving bum energy. So I'm hoping that, you know, eventually we get to the root of the problem, because right now this is not a good look, and it definitely looks like your son is trying to take advantage of you or is taking advantage of you. So we then get to this scene of Angie and Bronwyn, where Bronwyn is getting her makeup and hair done. Angie comes into her room and basically winds Bronwyn up to, at the end, confront Heather and Lisa, because Bronwyn basically honestly feels some type of way that she got called out. She feels some type of way that she feels like she got thrown under the bus by Heather and Lisa didn't speak up for her, or basically lie and say, well, I know Bronwyn, that's not how she is. And it's like, no, you were being shady in the car. You were being snarky in the car. Why did someone have to lie to you? Just own it and keep it pushing. Because it don't even seem like Whitney care about it, but you care more about it because you don't like the way it made you look, Bronwyn. But okay. So Bronwyn said she felt like her soul left her body when Heather called her out. But she's like, she's mad at Heather, but she's more pissed at Lisa for not speaking up for her. So then Angie was like, yeah, Lisa is the type of person that, like, as a friend, like, you always have to agree with her. So you should definitely talk to her. So then Bronwyn was like, if I can't be shady or bitchy, then y'all can't be either, because you, like, I said things about Millie, but what Lisa said about Millie was a lot worse. So then they do a flashback when they were on the Wendy's run, and Lisa made a comment where she said some guy that she works with close at Nordstrom's, or she cool with at Nordstrom, was like, you know, Millie about to get her privileges revoked for returning a bunch of stuff. Like, it's a lot, like, she doing too much. And they all laughed in the car. Like, Heather was laughing, and so was Bronwyn. So Bronwyn is just like, if I could be shady and y'all laugh and I'm laughing at your shady comments, then everybody should know about them now. So she pretty much says in her confessional, I'm not throwing Lisa under the bus. I'm just turning the bus on. Girl, you threw her under the bus because you got thrown under the bus and you feel some type of way. So pretty much we then leave that scene and we see Heather and Whitney having a conversation where Heather asks Whitney, like, hey, girl, are you and Meredith, like, kind of okay? And Whitney was like, well, I thought I was doing an olive branch where I told Meredith, hey, you should bring your caviar with you, because Meredith has a caviar line. So she was like, I told her to bring it. And then Meredith was like, of course I was going to bring caviar. I always bring caviar to eat in the morning. So they show a flashback scene of Meredith talking about her caviar, and they showed that she already had, she was bringing her caviar for the plane ride. So then Whitney was like, well, have you talked to Bronwyn? And Heather was like, yeah, kind of. She kind of gave me the cold shoulder, but it was like 4 a.m. and we were at the airport, so I didn't expect much of it. But Heather's pretty much feeling like, am I crazy for thinking that girl was being shady? And Heather's like, no, I don't feel like I'm being crazy, because she was making fun of you. Like, she made it seem like she wasn't cool with you, that she thought you were fun, like, you were a joke. And the truth of the matter is, Heather's not lying, because the way that Bronwyn was acting in front of Whitney is totally different than the way that she was acting in front of Lisa and Heather, because Heather's starting to feel like Bronwyn switches up in front of like certain people, like she goes along and gets along. Because in the car, you basically said that, like, did she practice this in the mirror? It was so trite. So then I was like, I Googled what does trite mean, even though I already knew what it meant, because I was like, trite means lame. It means like repeated something. It's lackluster. It's lackadaisical. And this is what dictionary.com said. It says trite, lacking in freshness or effectiveness because of constant use or excessive repetition. Hackneyed, stale. The trite phrase is his letter. So you were making fun of like her doing, you want to see the hill, Whitney? You were making fun of her in front of Heather and Lisa. So Heather feeling like you don't really like the girl or you think she's a joke is not too far-fetched. But then when you got in front of Whitney, you were like, oh, it was so iconic. It was so funny. Yeah, girl, you do be switching up. I said, clock it, Heather. And I normally don't see it for Heather, but Heather got Bronwyn's card. Heather has Bronwyn's card because I'm like, yeah, girl, she know what you doing. And she not crazy. She not. So Heather's just like, yeah, I got my good eye on Bronwyn. So we then see the girls all dressed up, ready to go. So some of the girls go to, like I said, to the casino. The rest go to the Bobblehead Museum. The Bobblehead Museum to me kind of looked boring, but they get there. They were doing a scavenger hunt. The director of the Bobblehead Museum said they have like, I think over like 10,000 bobbleheads. So the scavenger hunt was them trying to find the bobbleheads. They did one for Marilyn Monroe, Travis Kelce and his brother, and then they did the Golden Girls. And then all the girls was like, which Golden Girl would you be? So Mary would be Rose, which, yeah, because Rose was, Whitney is Sophia, the old lady who was slick at the mouth. Then you have Blanche being Millie. We don't really know much about Millie. And then Bronwyn was Dorothy. And so they all thought it was fun and was cute. So the other women went to the casino. They're having a good time. Lisa brings up how, like, in the Mormon faith, you're not supposed to do anything that is, like, addictive. So, like, really, like, drinking or, like, gambling. But then Lisa brings up how, like, one time she sat beside a boy on her way back home to Utah, and for 4 hours he looked at porn. I said, that is diabolical, to be on a plane and looking at that stuff for 4 hours. And she was like, he had his hoodie on and like was just looking. I said, when it's that crazy where you have to like do stuff like that in public, I don't even think that's why religion, like, having so much like constraint on people like that, or so many like those types of restrictions, breeds that, because that's unhealthy. That's unhealthy. And that is diabolical to be watching that in public for 4 hours straight on a plane. No, you bought Wi-Fi to look at that. are still at the casino. They're at the blackjack table. And the way that they're sitting, it goes Meredith, Heather, Angie, Lisa, and Brittany are farther down. And so Brittany and Lisa are having a conversation where Brittany is like, she don't know what to text Jared because Jared is texting her being like, hey, I didn't see that you called. Like, I don't know why I missed your call. So Brittany is like, I don't know how to respond to that. And so Lisa takes her phone and basically is like, I'm going to summarize, but she's basically texted him, hey, I'm out with the girls having the best time of my life. I probably won't be able to talk to you tonight. I guess we'll talk tomorrow. Thanks. I said, what was the thanks for? And Brittany's like, oh, okay. And so here's the thing. Based off of what I talked about in Spicy Corner, I definitely believe that Brittany might be playing this up a little bit, but I also feel like Jared is a charlatan and a fraud because I actually sat in Twitter spaces with him and I get where Whitney was coming from, where she was like saying that Jared gives politician because he does run around questions because in the Twitter spaces, they were asking Jared questions and Jared was responding to them, but like in a roundabout way. He wasn't being very like upfront about it. And so I was like, yeah, you do give like gaslighter and like you give politician vibes, bro. You give that you are a liar. So I definitely can see that he's playing in Britney's face, but he knows how to play with Britney because Britney is a bird and a pick me. Even if she's playing this up a little bit, she's definitely giving bird and pick me. Where you can actually admit on camera that I have chosen men over my children, and you haven't grown from that. Like Heather admitted it, like yeah, I've done that before, but she's no longer doing that. That lets me know you are in your patriarchy princess mode, and you want this man. Okay, and I don't know why, because he's not giving you anything to want, if you ask me. So Lisa ends up telling Brittany, like, if he doesn't make any major changes, you need to leave him. And Brittany's like, but he did. He made me his girlfriend. Did he really? He called you his best friend. Like, girl, what? What? And so Lisa just looks dead into the camera like, what's funny is 2 times this episode, Lisa looked directly into the camera, and I don't know if she did that on purpose or if Lisa is just like that aware of the cameras. So she just looked into the camera like, okay. So then we end up seeing Meredith and Heather leave the table to go to the bar to go order shots for the girls. So they go order shots, and while they're at the bar, Heather is like, I talked to Whitney and she was like, she thought that asking you to bring caviar was going to be like an olive branch. And Meredith is like, that's not an olive branch because I don't even know if I bring my caviar if you're going to try to steal my brand, because you've already done the jewelry. Now you're doing bath bombs. Like, I don't know. And so Meredith was just like a real olive branch would be her apologizing for being a crappy friend to me. But okay. So then Meredith ends up being like, have you seen what's online? And she was like, what's online? And she was like, that Whitney gets her jewelry from Alibaba and she triples the price. And girl, when I tell you production is messy, because why did they show the exact same picture on AliExpress and it's the jewelry that Whitney is selling? And on AliExpress or Alibaba, it's $3.96. On Whitney's pay, her page, Prism, it's $49.99. And the issue is it's the exact same picture. She didn't try to like invert it or anything. I said, girl, that's messy. That's messy. And Meredith was proud of herself because she was smirking. And Meredith was like, if that was me, Whitney would have been all over me. And so Heather is just like she's like really stunned that she's either stunned that Meredith brought it up on camera or that this is actually something that's actually happening to Whitney and she didn't know about it. And so they didn't show us a flashback scene of Lisa and Meredith talking where Lisa is just kind of like, she's trashing us online, even though she's going through that herself. And, and Lisa's like, what she's dealing with right now. And so Meredith's like, oh, you're talking about the AliExpress, the Alibaba thing. And she was like, yeah, like, girl, like, why would you play in our faces when people are playing in your face right now about this situation? So then Heather's in her confessional, like, this is like the kiss of death, like, to anybody's business. Like, Alibaba is a, like, mass producing, or what is it called, you guys? It's, Wholesale. It's a wholesale and it's not a lot of like product management. So she was like, that could really ruin your business. And then I guess she saw the pictures, or Meredith showed her the pictures, because she was like, either somebody is like somebody has to really be out there to get Whitney to be this like specific and like target her this way and have both these pictures lined up. So so Heather tells Meredith, like, hey, you should talk to Whitney. Like, because Meredith is like, honestly, has she come and spoken to me about like the jewelry and everything, I could have like mentored her or helped her out. And Heather's like, I think that's what you should do. And Meredith's like, I don't know about that because I don't know how she about to move. But Heather's just kind of like, well, you should say, hey, I saw what's happening online and I wanted, like, if we were cool enough, I would help. Like, do you want my help? And Meredith's just like, I don't know. And in her confessional, and this confessional she got on, I don't know if Meredith forgot that she was filming confessionals, because this is giving very much I'm on a Target run. It's not giving glamour. It's not giving what Meredith says she gives, you know. But she says in her confessional that she's not really that cool with Whitney right about now, and she's only telling Heather this so Heather can tell Whitney. And I'm like, girl, that's not going to go over well. That is not going to go over well. To go to the Bucks game. Angie is super duper excited. She's Greeked out. What's funny to me is like when Angie got off the Sprinter bus and she was like talking to the fans, and I was like, I hope that was like a voiceover, because I was like, Angie, it's giving very much delusional. Them kids was looking at you like, who is that? Who is this lady? Who is she? Who is she? We see them get introduced to the Bucks president. You know, we find out that Bronwyn is into sports. She is a stats nerd. She likes big numbers. We actually do see the Greek freak. He was like doing warm-ups, shooting like I think it was a free throw. Yeah, because that's when you stand at the line. He was shooting his free throw. And then we then see Damian Leonard. Is it Leonard or Lillard? I've seen him before, but he is a Bucks point guard, or one of the Bucks point guards. So everyone was excited to take pictures with him. He was really kind towards the ladies. And then you got Angie trying to like take a picture with Bronwyn flaring out the Greek flag that's tied around her neck with her glasses. She was like, so here's the thing. I have no issues with Angie being pride, like having so much pride in her culture and in her ethnicity and everything, but like this was irritating. Like, girl, they are trying to warm up. Get off the I was about to say get off the field, but get off the court. Like, I would be irritated if I was in the play. I would be like, if you don't go sit down, because you got Bronwyn flaring out the flag. You got Angie with a little flag in her hand with the glasses. The people standing behind her are like, okay, like, move. They try to warm up for the game. Go on somewhere. So then they finally take them up to the suite. Honestly, the food looked good. They had they had fried lobster on a stick, or they had corn dog lobsters. I don't know. Heather was excited, and I was excited for her, because when I tell you I love me some seafood, that's all I would have had on my plate. All I would have had on my plate is one of them little sliders and about 2 or 3 of them little lobster corn dogs, and I would have devoured it. I would have devoured it, okay? So while they're sitting there, what's her name? Angie is like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom. And Mary is like, ugh, I feel like I got to blow my nose. So Angie was like, oh, when I go to the bathroom, I can bring you some tissue. Do you want to go with me? And Mary's like, I don't pee in public bathrooms. Then she talks about how she sticks a tampon, the supersized one, inside of herself when it's not that time of the month. Okay. In order to not pee. So she said, you know, insert that bad boy in there. Ensure it is supersized, and it can't be medium or small. And then they had the preference. This is not No, it's not medical advice. That's how you get toxic shock. Okay? Like, I don't think toxic shock is just from like, you know, period blood. I think that's also like everything, you plugging it up, like you're plugging yourself up. Like, girl, if you got a PP, like you could die from like being constipated, or you're having from a bladder infection. I said, Mary, that's not safe. That's not safe, ma'am. And Mary's like, it works. I said, okay, girl, it works. So the girls are like sitting in the box, everyone's eating, and we then get this scene of Brittany on FaceTime with Jared. And you know, while she's on FaceTime with Jared, you then have, but sitting behind her is Angie and Bronwyn. And Angie is just telling Bronwyn, like Brittany is not sitting directly in front of her, about how her brow girl has been talking to Jared. And like, Angie's like, oh, there he goes. Hi, Jared. Yeah, I've heard a lot about you. Because she can see him on FaceTime. I say, this is awkward. This is very awkward of you, Angie. So next thing you know, Angie ends up like telling Bronwyn, like, I have screenshots that my brow girl sent me. You want to see them? So Bronwyn was like, yeah. So they show the screenshots, and basically Jared tells this lady that her, like, Brittany and him are not together. It was like, and yes, me and Brittany are not together, because the brow girl, I guess, asked like, hey, are you and Brittany together? And Jared said no. So all the while this is going on, while Brittany's on the phone with Jared. And they're having this conversation about how this man is on, like, in people's DMs telling them that he's not with you. So Brittany starts to hear her name a lot more. Bronwyn is telling Angie, like, hey, if it were me, I would want you to tell me this, and I would want you to help me to hide Todd's body, because how dare he? And so Brittany is like, is this conversation about me? Is this about me? And so Angie basically tells her, like, yeah, my brow girl was talking to Jared, and he was being very flirty in the DMs, and he also told her that, like, y'all were not together. So Brittany's like, what? And so Meredith comes up behind Angie and starts to, like, rub on Brittany's, like, wrist, like, this is a lot. This is a lot. And so Brittany is just like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, like, he really did. Like, I have proof if you want to see the proof. And so Brittany's like, I need a minute. So she walks out. Meredith goes with her. And so Angie is just like, I don't want her to be upset with me, because Bronwyn was like, ooh, I think she's upset. But like, Bronwyn was like, but it needed to be said. Like, someone needed to tell her. So Angie's like, should I go to the bathroom and check up on her? And Bronwyn was like, no, Meredith's going with her. It might be a situation where if it's too many people, it might be overwhelming. So we see this girl crying in the bathroom. I didn't really see no tears, but okay. She cried in the bathroom. Meredith is just like, she feel bad for her, because it's clear that their relationships is like makeups and breakups. And she was like, I feel like, not Brittany, but Jared is like the type of guy that like makes a fight with you to break up with you so he can go mess around with somebody else, but then comes back when he's done doing that. And he does give that. So Brittany in the bathroom crying, like, she's like, I suspected something. And so Meredith's advice is like, maybe it's time for you to go out on your own, start dating other people, but I definitely think it's time for you to move on from him. From Brittany crying in the bathroom and Meredith consoling her. And we have this scene of Angie and Mary like playing with the Greek flag, and Mary trying to teach Angie how to dance on beat. It was actually cute. It's nice to see Mary actually try to be friends with people instead of like just being there, because I feel like the first couple of seasons Mary was just there, and it was like she was like an enigma, like nobody knew what to do with her. She was just there. But now it feels like she's trying her best to actually be a part of the group, and I like that. So we then finally have the talk, or the sit down, where Bronwyn and Lisa have a conversation, where Bronwyn is like, I feel like you kind of played me to the left. And or like you kind of left me out there to dry with the whole situation at the ropes course with like the Whitney and like me talking behind her back and all of that stuff. And so Lisa's like, I didn't know you felt that way. Like, I really didn't know you felt that way. And so we end up seeing a flashback, because Bronwyn ends up saying, like, if my comments about Whitney were so bad, then what you said about Millie was it worse, if not the same, And so they do a flashback where Millie is confronting Bronwyn about the things she heard about them talking about her outfits and her wardrobe at the Bobblehead museum. And Bronwyn was like, I said things, but Lisa said things that were worse than what I said. So you really might want to talk to Lisa when it comes to people speaking about your wardrobe. They again flash back to the scene of where Lisa says the whole thing about like, my friend that works at Nordstrom's was like, Millie about to lose her privilege because she keep returning things. So Millie is like getting food, and she's like, I hear my name. And Meredith is just like, stand up for yourself, do what you got to do. So we see Millie be like, hey, Lisa, I need to ask you a question. Like, I heard that you said some things about my wardrobe from Bronwyn. Like, what's up with that? So then Lisa ends up telling the truth. Lisa ends up being like, yeah, I did say it. It was snarky. It was shady. I did make those comments. So then all of a sudden Bronwyn was like, oh, because I don't think Bronwyn thought that Lisa was going to cop to it. Like Bronwyn was like, oh, like I think she was really shocked that Lisa was like, yeah, I said those things. Yeah, I was being snarky. Yeah, I was being rude. So then Bronwyn was like, well, if what I said, so I'm not allowed to be snarky. I'm not allowed to be shady. Like, so when you say stuff, it's snarky and shady. But when I say stuff, it's rude and stuff. And so Lisa's like, Bronwyn, I said what you said was snarky and it was shady. And Lisa did say that. Lisa did say what Bronwyn said was snarky and shady. So for me, it feels like Bronwyn just wants Lisa to lie for her, because Bronwyn goes on being like, you could have been like, I know Bronwyn. She would never say those things, but you said those things, lady. Like, what do you want her to say? Because your comments was shady. It was snarky. And that's when Bronwyn makes the whole thing about like, I'm seeing a crack in our friendship and I don't know if we could survive this. What? So because she won't lie for you or won't say that you didn't say those things, or and the thing about it was like, no one's saying that like what you said was that big of a deal. Like Whitney's not even bothered by it. So why are you so pressed, Bronwyn? So Bronwyn was like, you could have defended me, Lisa. And Lisa's like, I did defend you. And when they show the flashback, Lisa did somewhat defend Bronwyn, where she was like, well, Bronwyn talks a certain way. I talk a certain way. You talk a certain way. She don't mean it like that. It's just she don't mean it like that. And so Bronwyn was like, well, I wanted you to be like, I'm Bronwyn's friend and you should give her the benefit of the doubt. The same way Heather did for Brittany, where she was like, if you're my friend and you care about her, respect me. But I think that's mighty funny when you were a part of the brigade of going after Lisa. Not Lisa, after Brittany, because Mary and Brittany were into it and you jumped into it. So of course Heather was going to be like, back up off my friend. Like what? I'm so confused as to what Bronwyn wants from Lisa. Like, you wanted her to defend you even though like what she didn't, because she not lying for you. Like, what's going on? So the conversation continues, and Lisa is in her confessional being like, I don't know what Bronwyn wants me to do. I did stick up for her. Maybe I didn't stick up for her the way she wanted me to, but I did stick up for her. And then they show the flashback of Lisa sticking up for her, being like, we all speak differently, and that's not what she meant. And she's just like, does Bronwyn want me to throw a glass? I only throw glasses when I'm defending myself. And they showed the Bezos party where she threw the glass. You did see Meredith come up, and Meredith is just kind of like, nah, she did defend you. And Bronwyn was like, well, no, she didn't, because she could have stopped everything from happening at that table. And I'm like, what did you want her to stop? Like, she basically said that you were being snarky, you were being shady, and that, hey, that's just how Bronwyn talks. That's not how she is like that. So she was like, Heather, no, I think that's when Lisa was like, well, I'm trying to feel things out. You're new to this group. I'm still going to support my friends in this group, and I'm trying to support you. And she was like, I get you're trying to support Heather, but me and Heather got to get some things straight, because I feel some type of way about you throwing me under the bus. So Heather is like, well, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, but that's what happened. Heather, you wanted to throw that lady under the bus because you felt some type of way that she was ganging up on Bronwyn with Mary. So you was like, okay, girl, I already don't vibe with you because I feel like you being two-faced. So you talk about my cousin with me and Lisa. Now you going to have these private conversations with Whitney, and you flipping it, and then you was ganging up on my friend Brittany. So yeah, I'm going to throw you under the bus. I see you, Heather. So all of a sudden, Bronwyn is like, well, me and you got to get things straight if we're going to be friends. And Heather's looking at Bronwyn like, girl, what? And then she starts mocking her in the confessional. And Heather's like, it is kind of like, she was like, you don't think it's weird that like when you were in front of us, you was talking Cash Money-ish about Whitney to us, but then you went behind our backs and had a private conversation with Whitney, because Brian was trying to be like, we were all having conversations about Whitney in the car, and Heather's like, yes, we were having conversations about Whitney in the car, but none of us ran to Whitney to try to clear up what was said in the car. You did that, which is true, because when you put the two scenes together, Bronwyn was definitely in that car mocking Whitney. And like making fun of her and saying what she said was so trite and so rehearsed and was so lame. But then when you get in the car with her, what she said was iconic. And like, she was like, you weren't wrong. So it is giving that, to me, it feels like you want an issue with Lisa. You want one. Because I'm not getting how this one moment is like tearing your friendship apart. It's weird. You're weird. So Next thing you know, you see Whitney is ear hustling like Marlo, like, and she's like, I'm happy that Heather's defending me, but she was like, I think Heather is just like, she don't trust nobody after like what happened last season. So she was like, I think she's projecting onto Bronwyn, and I feel like she might need to let this go. So then that's when Brahman ends up saying, well, y'all are the same ones that y'all said Whitney uses her trauma against people. And they both were like, yeah. And then they show the flashback of when they said it at the Bezos party. And Brahman was like, you don't think that's worse than what I've said because y'all have known her longer? And Heather's just looking at her like, no. And so then in her confessional, the last scene we see is Bronwyn saying, I'm not the problem. I'm just the best dressed problem. As she looks like Bozo the Clown. Like, when I tell you Bronwyn's style is not, it's not it. I'm just sorry. Like, the only confessional that I have liked was the big heart confessional. This confessional looks bad. I don't like the wet hair effect. And then the other confessional with the feathers coming off of the jacket, it's not giving. So for her to be like, I'm the fashionista, it don't do it for me, girl. It's not doing it for me. So yeah, I see Bronwyn. For Bronwyn to be like, Lisa's been my longtime friend, but you're like actively ignoring her. You are talking shit about her to everybody that's around her but her. Because if I'm friends with somebody and we've been friends for a long time, I'm definitely pulling you to the side and being like, hey, can we have a conversation? I'm not talking to everybody around you about you. And then when we get to the conversation, you're basically saying that you're mad that Lisa didn't lie for you because Lisa pretty much said, yeah, girl, what you said was snarky and it was catty. You wanted her to be like, I know Bronwyn, and she wouldn't do nothing like that, when in fact you did that. You did that. like what do you want from the lady? What do you want? Like, it's not, it's just giving that Bronwyn wants an issue, and she's embarrassed that she got caught for talking trash about somebody. And I don't think she was prepared for Heather to clock her tea and call her out. I think Bronwyn was banking on the fact that Heather and Whitney's relationship, they're not that close of cousins, but I'm like, at the end of the day, they still are cousins, so you don't know what type of private conversations that they're having beyond you. And I don't think she thought that Whitney was going to tell Heather that she met up with her. So Bronwyn got caught. Now she mad and lashing out. That's it. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in the comments below and share your thoughts with me. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.